Hi everyone, I'm Gary Sibs, and this is video number 2 of my Cheltenham anti-post betting for the upcoming 2020 festival. For those of you who haven't seen bet number 1 and video number 1, what I decided to do this year was put up a series of videos where I was going to use up an imaginary pot of £500 on some anti-post betting. For the upcoming festival. These bets are all being placed in sort of early to mid-Jan. They'll be within the next week. It's the 13th of January today. I put the first one up, I think it was on Thursday, on my birthday maybe, on the 9th. But yeah, this is number 2, and the first bet was a double. It was my sort of banker of the festival, Tiger Roll and Paisley Park. You can go back and watch that video. It's on my channel. Please do. Yeah, we're on to bet number 2. Bet number 2 is for looking at the Ballymore Novices Hurdle, where I've done some digging and come out with what I hopefully believe will be the winner. I have been wondering, as I'm sure many of you have been wondering, where we're going to end up seeing Inviolable. My opinion on that situation is Inviolable should be in the Supreme. I think Inviolable would hose up in the Supreme, and I think there is nothing in there would get even close to him. In the Ballymore, I just have a pretty opposite feeling towards him. I've had it since the start. Every time I've looked at it, I just can't have him. I just cannot have Inviolable for the Ballymore. Yeah, he may look like a staying chaser in the making, but just not yet. He had that last run over 2 mile 4, which was his first step up in trip. He won, and not going to say he never won convincingly, because he did, but it didn't strike me as being that. Although it was 2 mile 4, it's not 2 mile 5, and it's not 2 mile 5 at Cheltenham, which is 2 mile 7, more or less, on any other track. And it just did not strike me as being the type that will get that distance right now. I think there's other horses in there at a lot better prices. Inviolable is currently 5-4 for the Ballymore. I cannot have that horse at that price. Like I say, if he was in the Supreme and it was confirmed he was going to the Supreme, give me 5-4, give me whatever price you want, and I would be lumping on it. But I just can't do it in the Ballymore. Going back to look at the stats, only 4 favourites out of 12 have won this. You tend to find in this race a lot of 2nd, 3rd, 4th favourites win it. 7 of the 12 have been in the top 4 of the betting. And then it just, like a lot, it chucks in a high price. We had Willoughby Court won at 14-1 3 years ago, but take Willoughby Court out of it, and your highest priced winner in the last 12 races has been 8-1, and there's been a few of them 7s and 8s to 1s, but there's nothing. You never get like a 50-1 shot in or anything like that. But as for rock solid favourites like Inviolable is, only 4 have won that. Of the favourites as well, I must go into the price a little bit, because although 4 favourites have won it, only 2 of those were really short price favourites, like Inviolable is. In 2018, we had Sam Crow that went off 8-11 favourite. And the other short-priced favourite was Faheen in 2014, went off 6-4. Other than that, the favourites have been more or less like 3 or 4-1, 7-2, 9-2, 3-1. So, sorry, on the favourite, I'm looking at second favourites. On the favourites, we had 5-2, 7-2. So they've been slightly higher priced favourites than a like, you know, even money or less favourite. And, you know, if Inviolable, you know, he's 5-4 now without even being confirmed in the race. If he was confirmed in the race, he probably would be 8-11 or something. So he's a really short price favourite, and not many of them win. And there's been quite a few of them at that price that have then been beaten. And just going back to, I think Yanworth was quite a short price favourite when York Hill beat him. In fact, well, I'll get to that in a minute because I've got that written down somewhere, but he was a fairly short price favourite. So yeah, on the betting front, for me, that said to start looking towards the top of the betting, but again, that steered me away from Inviolable a little bit more. So yeah, then we look at the runs, the distance runs leading up to the race. So we've got City. I'm just going back for the last few winners. City Island won this race last year, as most of you will know. He had 2 runs over 2 mile, then he had a run over 2 mile 3 and 2 mile 5. So he had 2 runs at least near distance leading up to it. Sam Crow, when I looked at the stats and the record, Sam Crow is the exception to everything. Sam Crow did things leading up to this race, as in like only ran once. That's hardly ever happened before. He ran once over 2 mile 4 and then straight to the Ballymore and won. Hardly ever happens. Willoughby Court the year before that. Willoughby Court was the highest priced horse to ever win this at 14-1. He had 3 prep runs and they were all at 2 mile 4, 2 mile 5. York Hill year before that, he'd had 3 runs, 2 of those were at 2 mile 4. Faheen the year before that, he'd had 3 runs and they were all at 2 mile 4, 2 mile 6 and 3 mile. So a lot of runs at this distance and further. Like I say, we've seen Envoy Allen the last day at 2 mile 4. Is he going to run again before the festival? Who knows? If I was to back him, I would like to see him run at least another one over the distance. But right now, I'm putting my anti-post bets on now, and I can't have him. Looking at other stats that I've found out in my my homework for the race. So yeah, this only one winner, and this is Sam Crow that I've just told you about. Only one winner in the last 10 years has had only one race over 2 mile 4, and then gone on to win this race. So if Envoy Allen doesn't show up again, he would have to match something that's only been set by Sam Crow to only have one race over 2 mile 4, and then come and win this. Then we look at the others in the market. So up there is Gordon Elliott's Easy Work. I like Easy Work, and I'm kind of hoping that Gordon Elliott thinks Easy Work can win this race, because if he thinks I don't think Easy Work can win it, but I'm hoping Gordon Elliott thinks that, because that might make him send Envoy Allen to the Supreme. So a good race last time out, beat Unaccepted convincingly by about 22 lengths, and then Disclaimer was further back than that, but Unaccepted was meant to be a very good horse, and was the favourite. I'm pretty sure Unaccepted was the favourite that day, and Easy Work completely turned him over, and that was on heavy ground at Limerick. The time that day wasn't great, but like I've just said, it was on heavy ground, so you can shave a lot off the time. The time's set. Times for me, I like to look at the times just to see what races have been running, particularly if you can match up, obviously course and distance, trying to match up times. If someone's run a race at Navan and at Limerick, it's hard to do. But over course and distance, I like horses that have done it over course and distance, which we'll get you onto my selection soon. But Easy Work, for me, still a little bit to prove. Like I say, a good horse. I just couldn't, when I was watching the races back, it just wasn't something that just struck me as, yeah, that's my fancy for the race. So I bypassed that one. I then had a look at the Big Breakaway after watching his last race. Went back and had a look through, watched his races back a few times, and I really like this horse. I think he's the biggest danger to my selection. I think he'll be up there. I think he'll place. He's been very impressive in his wins to date. He seems to turn it on when he needs to turn it on in a race. Doesn't strike you as being like a big, impressive, like all the way around. You're thinking, wow, he's not one of the big, sexy type of horses, as a lot of people say. But he turns it on when he needs to, and he gets the job done. So yeah, I was toying with the idea of backing him, but then I came across my selection, and I just fancied my selection more than I fancied him, basically. Then I came to my selection, and I looked. Well, I did have a look. I was going to say I looked no further. I did look at the others, but I always came back to my selection. And my selection, fingers crossed he turns up here and not the Albert Bartlett, is Time Hill. Currently best priced at 14 to 1 with Betfair, 12 to 1 with Betfred, and then you can get a bit of a scattered price. You get in 7s, 8s, and 9s elsewhere. But at 14 to 1 with Betfair, I would be putting a £30 stake of my my anti-post pot, this 500 imaginary pound. I'm not even going to bother with the each way selection, which I was toying with doing and I might regret not doing. I'm just going to go £30 on the nose with Time Hill. Reasons for this is I've had a look back at all of his races. He's 3 from 3 over hurdles currently at distances 2 mile 3 to 2 mile 5. He's won on good to soft, soft and heavy in his three races, so he clearly acts on all ground. So come the festival, because that's obviously a big unknown at the moment, is what the ground's going to be like come Cheltenham time. So the fact that he acts on all grounds gives you a bit of security. And then he also won the Ballymore Novices Hurdle in November, so he has course and distance form. Okay, that race, there is probably a few better horses in this race than what turned up that day, but there were some decent horses there. You look at the time of the race, he won in 5 minutes 22. When Sam Crow won, he won in, which was the reason I'm saying Sam Crow, by the way, is because he was the last to win on similar going. When Time Hill won in November, it was soft, heavy in places, excuse me, heavy in places, and it was the exact same for Sam Crow. So that's obviously what you need to find to compare the times. And Sam Crow won in 5 minutes and 18. So that's only 4 seconds. 4 seconds is nothing to find. You know, how fast the leader of the race, whoever takes the pace up goes, can affect that 4 seconds. But what I really liked about Time Hill was the way he finished the race. He jumped the last, caught a little bit flat-footed for 2 or 3 seconds, and you're thinking, oh, hang on, he might get beat. But then there was no chance he was getting beat. He powered away up that hill like an absolute stayer, and really, really liked it. Really liked what I saw there. And I think come the Ballymore, I think you need something. I think the big breakaway is the same. I think he'll power up as well. But I like it that this has been done at Cheltenham by Time Hill in the Ballymore recently. You know, it's a like for like race, and I can see him powering away to win, basically. And that goes for, like I say, even if Inviolable turns up. Again, I will repeat what I've said plenty of times. I hope Inviolable goes to the Supreme because that means on at 14 to 1 here, Time Hill would be a hell of a lot shorter if it gets to the declarations and it's found that Inviolable's going to the Supreme. So I will be staking £30 on at 14 to 1. A very confident bet on Time Hill to win the Ballymore Novices Hurdle, and if you're on it, good luck. And that is my bet number 2 and video number 2 done for Cheltenham. Good luck.